our Apple WWDC 2024 recap. We're back to unpack even more Apple goodness. I'm Michelle, and I'm with my co-host,
Ryan.
This is the third episode of our AI series. Today, we're going to go over Apple Intelligence and Apple's decision to partner with OpenAI. So it seems like Apple had poured in a lot of resources to build their own AI models.
Yeah, definitely looks pretty exciting. And it'll be interesting how it's going to be integrated into the Siri and the combination of your iPad and your MacBook, all your devices. It seems like they want you to be fully engaged in all your products to be Apple.
Yeah, so they brought up this concept of the Apple Intelligence is powerful, intuitive, and integration. Yeah, they always do that. Adjectives followed by nouns.
Yeah, the PIIPP I saw.
PIIPP?
Yeah, once you get all 5 words in there.
I guess I missed 2 P's.
That's okay. We're 2 peas in a pod here.
So going off of what you just mentioned, that they want this full integration of all your OS devices, maybe even your watch OS with their iPhone, iPad, and MacBook. And this had got me to think that if you work corporate, maybe you work for Elon Musk, now all your information is kind of in the back end of Apple devices, and you as a CEO have no control over these devices. That gotta be hard. So I think a lot of people who work corporate that have strict data privacy rules and regulations are gonna miss out on a lot of these Apple goodness.
Yeah, and also it's interesting because the people working for them are Apple aficionados.
Yeah.
And Apple seems to care about the security for the individual, but do they really care about where the security of where that individual works in the businesses that person works for? Because yes, you're going to store all the information about that person in their phone, but that doesn't mean like all the information about Elon Musk's company is not going to be stored in some server as well.
Yeah, so about this personal context, our favorite guy, Craig.
Yes, Craig.
He used an example, right? His meeting got rescheduled, and he want to know if he can still make it to his daughter's dance recital or something like that.
Yes.
He works for Apple.
Yeah.
So I imagine he trusts Apple's privacy a great deal, and Apple's going to have full control over their employees' Apple devices. So he can do that, merge his personal calendar with his work calendar. But for other employees that work for other companies, I imagine the companies want to separate work content as opposed to personal content. So I think that's not gonna work. And our jobs are a big part of our lives. So if we don't have our work information synchronized with our personal information, then we can't take advantage of this personal context in Apple Intelligence.
Yeah, so the companies are likely going to have to provide their own phones, tablets, MacBooks to their employers if they don't want to have to deal with the consequences.
Yeah, but then your personal life will be disconnected from your work life.
Yes, and that's okay. And that gets us into season 2 of Severance, everybody. It doesn't get any more disconnected than that.
You brought up such a good point. So if we can just separate our brain altogether, then we don't even worry about our work life being disconnected with our personal life.
Exactly. So I want to get back into the guy trying to go to his daughter's recital, because I think this was a fascinating use of the technology. Basically what he said was he would have an integration of his calendar, his text messages, and then the Apple Maps app.
Maybe even photo app.
And yeah, so yes, it said it would be able to recognize the image of his daughter, and that his daughter had last week texted him saying...
Texted him a poster of the schedule.
Exactly. Texted him, this is my concert recital on this day at this time. And when he asks his phone, how do I get to my daughter's recital? It's going to have marked it at that time, and then it's going to even give him traffic conditions, a route to get there. So it's really cool, and that's of course why they immediately transitioned from that into privacy discussion.
Yeah.
Because while this seems really fascinating, it's a little bit frightening in a way that they're going to have all this information about who's texting you, and they're going to know how much traffic there is on your way to your daughter's recital at that time of the day. It's definitely something that some people are not going to be too comfortable with.
Yeah, but our life is also so complicated now. It's almost like everybody deserves an assistant.
Yes, I totally agree.
And it seems like this Apple Intelligence will serve that function.
Yep.
And fill that vacancy in our lives. And who can really take advantage of our private information and do our harm? I'm thinking like a serious stalker, or if you're a criminal, or you're a dictator, and Apple knows who you are. But Apple claims they won't even have access to that information anyways.
Yeah, so the point is there needs to be constant communication with the user and the developer. Constant feedback. Do people feel safe? We had a recent discussion with a colleague, and it's all about feeling safe when we're dealing with AI.
Yeah, so maybe that colleague needs to open up their mind about...
Open AI.
Yeah, maybe the term open AI made them feel even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's just discuss a little bit more about privacy. So Apple introduced this concept of private cloud compute. So perhaps most of your tasks you give to Apple Intelligence can be handled directly on your own device by the chip called Apple Silicon. So it's either going to be A17 OS and above, or any one of the chips in the M series. And when your chip determines that the power of your own device isn't sufficient to handle your task because you're requesting help from your Mail app, Google Map,
Yeah, 5 different devices simultaneously.
apps,
yeah.
simultaneously extracting information possibly from other servers. Then it will go into this concept called private cloud. And this cloud will promptly delete your information as soon as it's done computing your information. And not even Apple has access to this information.
Yeah, so it's different from the traditional storage cloud.
Or warehouse. That's
Yeah.
what Craig said. It's
Yes.
not in somebody's warehouse. It's not in somebody's cloud, personal cloud.
Exactly. So
It's in your private cloud.
yeah, so the data is not stored, but it allows the artificial intelligence to reach out beyond its capacity, physical capacity, and into other different servers and gather. They say it's only going to be the specific information you need to answer your question, and it's not going to try to distribute anything else out to the cloud.
Yeah, here I'm seeing that perhaps Apple is releasing this type of information and kind of gauge consumers' feedback, whether the information they release is sufficient to put consumers' mind at ease.
Yes, because the videos, they got 10 million views. I'm sure it got a lot of commentary. They're going to get, this is just on YouTube, and I'm sure they're getting other feedback from beta testers and everything. They want to know, what are people scared of? And what's going to make people comfortable and willing to use it.
Yeah, and I'm really curious if you're one of the characters in the movies and FBI have gotten some warrant to tap on your private cloud compute. Will that work?
Yeah, that's a good, like if you've committed a crime in some way, can your information be subpoenaed?
Yeah, I'm sure your information can be subpoenaed, but the traditional police work is they have to send policemen and women follow, or what do they call it? They would sit there and monitor.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot the term, but they have to.
Police surveillance.
Surveillance. They have to put 24/7 surveillance on a subject. But if you already have this information learned by your own virtual assistant, the Apple Intelligence, potentially you can just sit comfortably, air-conditioned police headquarter precinct and get all your work done for you. Could you do that?
Yeah, well, that would have to be dealt with the Constitution, with the Patriot Act, with the Supreme Court. There's all sorts of things. And that's what I'm sure we'll be discussing all of that in the future. When the federal government and the judicial system and Congress and whatever it is decide they want to try to regulate this stuff.
Yeah.
That'll be a fascinating discussion in the future.
Yeah, last time I looked for this type of information, I don't believe there's a federal law that has been passed yet. I think there are laws that are in the work. So far, it seems like we're relying on private companies' self-regulation. Like in our first episode of Gemini versus Chatgpt, we've gone over the generative AI prohibited use by both companies.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Apple Intelligence would have something similar.
Definitely. But that's never going to stop a criminal from criming.
Maybe the criminals will be just like Elon Musk. No Apple device in my crime syndicate.
Yeah, you're right. Because they don't want to get caught up in the cloud.
Private cloud.
Yeah, the private cloud.
Yeah, so now that we've gone over some of the privacy concerns, Ryan, you were telling me you were really impressed with some email rewriting features that they demonstrate in their presentation.
Oh yeah, that's one of the things that they're integrating right into the Apple iOS system is you can write an email and then you can ask it to rewrite it in different tones. Do you want it to be more personal? Do you want it to be more professional? Do you want it to be more succinct? And there's a lot of features out there now such as Grammarly and Quillbot that I have been using.
What's a Killbot?
No, it's not kill. Well, it kills your poor grammar and your passive voice and allows you to write in active voice by paraphrasing for you. I personally really like these features because it gives you suggestions in real time as you're writing, and it allows you to paraphrase and rewrite, if you want it to be academic, or leisurely, things like that. However, these are paid features. Right now I'm having to pay a fee for a year to use them, whereas it's seemingly like Apple is trying to integrate it right into their system. And it won't only be for emails, it can also potentially be for text messages, notes to yourself.
Your diary.
Your diary, yes.
Yeah, I think you bring up a really good point. Is Apple putting these other apps out of business?
Yes, and Marquise just made a fascinating video where we were watching the other day where he was discussing the difference between AI being a product on its own or AI being a feature. And so you can see that clearly Apple is integrating this as a feature into their own system, and they're taking business potentially away from these products such as Quillbot and just putting it into their own system, writing it their own code and everything.
So perhaps next time when you're thinking about buying a $2,000 iPhone, you can take comfort in saving $10 a month from Grammarly.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So yeah, factor that in when you're buying, because that's something we'll talk about a little bit later. A lot of these features, Apple has slipped it in the iPhone 15 Pro and the M1 chip and above, etc. So it's their little scheme there to try to get you to upgrade in order to get and take advantage of all these really cool new things.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit of a luxury and a little bit of a privilege to obtain one of these new devices and enjoy some of the features to automatically be writing a error-free email.
Exactly. That is very nice. Now I want to get into one thing real quick. A quick discussion, because I've seen a lot of comments whenever I'm looking at AI, everyone's saying, oh, we're all creating mindless people that are never going to be able to think on their own anymore. And that is an old, antiquated attack.
Yeah.
Because potentially they spent a lot of time thinking and doing these things their entire life growing up because they didn't have access to these tools. And maybe they feel a bit upset that now these other people are going to be able to not even have to spend that time. Because now these younger generations are going to spend the time becoming entrepreneurs, creating new things rather than having to spend all their energy and creativity in just doing
checking my grammar.
Exactly, mundane tasks. Exactly.
Active voice. Training to have active voice. Actually, I think let's just focusing on this one feature. I want to write emails in more active voice, and I want this new feature in Apple Intelligence to do it for me. I think every time I have my email rewritten, it's an opportunity for me to learn on the spot, on demand.
Exactly.
And therefore, it improves my ability to write or speak even in active voice, and actually increase my productivity.
Yeah, it's going to increase. And you didn't have to necessarily go through and sit through an entire course in order to do it, where you were being lectured on things that aren't applicable. Once, just like Apple's pitch to personal use, you are getting a personal education because your everyday communication is getting revised on demand. Exactly.
I think another criticism I hear from people is, oh, AI is going to write a standardized answer. So other people, when they're looking at your answer, they're going to know this is written by an AI. There's no difference between this answer from AI versus next answer from AI.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I think that
it's false.
It's false. Now, it's not false if you ask a question that everyone else would ask.
Yeah.
If you ask a question that everyone else is asking, that's a one-sentence question, you're going to get the answer that everyone else gets. But you can design your question in a way that's going to provide a unique answer. And that's where the next stage of AI usage is. And you can see some of our previous videos on AI prompting.
Prompt engineering.
Yeah, the prompt engineering.
Yeah, that is a great point. Going back to this idea that Apple's integrating a lot of AI features in their iOS system, so you don't have to open a third-party app. What are your thoughts on how Apple Intelligence now is going to be able to edit your photo and create generative art however you like, whether it's sketch, illustration, or animation, and potentially you won't need to go into Adobe Suite to do it anymore?
Yeah, this was another really fascinating feature where they said that you can ask for load pictures of my friend Shaniqua wearing a pink dress, and then it'll load them all up. Every image that you have of your friend wearing this pink dress, and then you select one of them and say, enhance this, add it to pop, increase the saturation. You could actually say these things out loud and it'll edit the photo for you in real time. So that's a really cool feature. And what's most important is, as I mentioned before, being able to gather up the images. Maybe you can ask for your dog, load up all the pictures I have of cannoli. I can sort through them.
Yeah, and you can say that, make my dog cannoli into a cartoon.
Yeah.
And I don't even need to pay for Adobe to do it anymore, potentially.
Exactly. And this is another way in which they're trying to prevent you from having to go outsource to all these different monthly subscriptions. They want you spending all your time, not just on your Apple phone and your Apple device, but within the Apple sphere, which they've now created, called Apple Intelligence. And one of the things is that I think we'll get into next or a little bit later is how the Apple artificial intelligence system has expanded itself by partnering up with OpenAI, which is most known for Chatgpt. And so this collaboration is something that we'll definitely be talking about.
So this businesswoman, Kathy Wood, she once said that she believes technology will make the economy more efficient. So I think this is one of those moments where Apple's integrating all these features that you have to pay in the past, like Grammarly, Adobe, Canva, things like that, now all into iOS. And all you need to do is purchase an iOS device that
Yeah.
has one of these Apple silicon chips.
So in other words, you're getting more bang for your buck. Some people have been afraid to switch over to Apple and iPhone because they felt it's more expensive. Well, potentially now it's getting more and more affordable. The price of the phone may be the same, as high as it always was, but you're going to get a lot more features built in, and it may end up saving money in the long term.
Yeah. And I think this is an opportunity for us to recognize that instead of fighting technology, making our lives and economy more efficient, perhaps we should embrace it and learn as much as we could and try to adapt and enjoy the benefits that the availability of the technologies are bringing us.
Exactly.
Yeah, so having all these features will really greatly improve our productivity, and I imagine competition will become more fierce than ever because everyone, instead of learning what a pixel is, for example, in the past, which is required if you want to Photoshop your photo, now you have Apple Intelligence do it for you on your phone. So now, as someone who have invested a lot of time understanding how to manipulate pixels, this person has to figure out how they can take
take their skills to the next level. What I think is that it lowers the bar for entry.
Yeah.
And it expands the number of people that are now going to be able to use their own creativity to make things. Before, you were, and everyone is so limited based on their previous knowledge, and rather than just their ability to think of things. Think of all the wild ideas you've had in the shower.
Yeah.
Or in your dreams, right?
Yes.
And then you just thought to yourself immediately, well, I'd have to take a 4-year college, endeavor just to learn how to do this. Potentially, that's not going to be the case anymore with all this artificial intelligence. You have an idea, they can bring it to life for you.
Yeah, so recently Ali Abdaal made a video, I can't remember the title, but essentially he said that all the knowledge and skills you learn in uni actually are low-paying skills.
Yes.
So this goes back to what you just said. The high-paying skills are going to be the ones that are at the forefront of technology. And it's still good to go to college because you want to be an all-rounded person, learn about liberal arts and STEM.
Yes.
And other things, sports, potentially. History. So you're not out of your context.
You're not out of your tree.
You're not out of your tree. It also opens up all these avenues for your personal creativity to take off as something really incredible.
Yeah, that's what I'm most excited to see.
Yeah, even though we're kind of not spring chicken anymore, I'm also not too salty about it.
Yeah, I want to see what the young bloods have to do. And also, I felt as though we're in this really good range of being able to comprehend new technology and not be so scared of it.
Yeah, we're millennials.
Yeah.
The point is, don't be scared, try it out, be open-minded to allow AI to improve your productivity.
Yes. Yeah.
So Siri, let's talk about Siri just a little bit.
Yeah.
So I made a whole video on Siri. If you're interested, you can check it out. The video is called Siri with Apple Intelligence, a true AI partner. In this video, I made the comparison between Siri and Jarvis from Iron Man. And I think Siri, based on this presentation from WWDC 2024, it is really acting just like Jarvis. And I kind of always wanted a Jarvis for myself. Just a companion artificial intelligence / robot that understands me and take care of me. I need that, actually. I'm excited about it. So Siri uses semantics index that works with Apple Intelligence.
Yeah, so it seems like it's going to be able to incorporate your personal wants and needs and activities and actions in the language. That's going to help with the answers it provides you and potentially even anticipate the types of questions you're going to want to ask and stuff like that.
And the best part about Siri, which I think you agree with me, Ryan, is that when you get your new iPhone, and you install your new iOS system. You don't know how to use these new features. You can just ask Siri to show me how to use these features that these two idiots are going over in this podcast right now.
Yes, that was something that I was really happy to hear about from Craig. Oh, because it gives you a visual representation on your screen of your phone or your whatever you're using, giving you a how-to step-by-step instructions. So say I want to be able to record a video. That could be very simple, but it'll tell you exactly how to do that. And then it gets more complicated tasks you can ask it to do.
Yeah, you can ask Apple Intelligence how to use Apple Intelligence through Siri. Maybe you can ask Siri to do a little troubleshooting for you.
Yeah. Oh, you know what would be a really cool application? They didn't advertise this, but often if I go to the dentist or the doctor or whatever, they ask me to set an appointment for a year or 6 months in advance.
Oh God, I hate
And then I have to sit there with the calendar. But maybe you could say, hey Siri, what are my free days in August of 2024 and January of 2025? And then they're gonna boom, they're gonna tell you, oh, on this day. So that's a really cool feature. I'm sure will be there. They didn't even talk about it.
Or if you get a confirmation email, like you just book your next hair appointment in August, and you can just say, hey Siri, find my next hair appointment and put it in my calendar, in my work calendar, my personal calendar, my Apple calendar, my Google calendar, my Notion calendar, make sure it's covered.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would like that. Shall we move on to Chatgpt?
Yes, I know you've been excited to talk about the integration of OpenAI's platform with Apple.
Yeah, so let's first make the distinction. Apple Intelligence and Chatgpt/OpenAI are equivalent. They're both models that have been trained by a lot of data.
Yes.
But for some reason, they want to work with OpenAI/ChatGPT. So you can ask Siri to put up OpenAI or ChatGPT for you.
Yeah, and this could be sort of a marketing tactic because they know there's a lot of people getting really into ChatGPT. It could also be strategic alliance because they're not going to be the competitors such as Google. And also the strategy is that OpenAI potentially has much more experience with all of its investment that's put into ChatGPT, whereas Apple's maybe just kind of getting into the game now. So they want to get a head start by teaming up.
Yeah, so to make this situation more awkward, I thought to ask Google Gemini, why did Apple decide to partner with OpenAI as opposed to Gemini? Would you like to hear Gemini's answer?
Yes.
Apple has not officially announced a partnership with OpenAI, although there have been rumors and speculations about such a collaboration. These reports suggest that Apple may integrate OpenAI's technology, such as ChatGPT, into its various products and services. Several reasons could explain why Apple might choose OpenAI over Gemini or other AI models. Established reputation. OpenAI has garnered significant attention and recognition for its advancements in AI, particularly with models like GPT-3 and ChatGPT. This reputation could make OpenAI a more appealing partner for Apple. Technical capabilities. OpenAI's models have demonstrated impressive capabilities in natural language processing, text generation, and other AI tasks. This technical prowess might align better with Apple's specific requirements. Strategic fit. Apple and OpenAI could have complementary goals and visions for the future of AI. Partnering with OpenAI might help Apple accelerate its AI initiatives and enhance its products. It's important to note that these are just potential reasons, as there's no official confirmation of a partnership between Apple and OpenAI. If you'd like to learn more about the rumored partnership and its potential implications, you can check out these articles.
Yeah, and then Gemini linked 3 articles.
Yeah, and what's interesting about this concept of the rumored thing is that a lot of the AI bots don't have access to the most immediate information.
Yeah, that is interesting. What I have found with Gemini is it seems to be quite in tune with very new information on the internet. I guess Gemini is part of Google.
Yeah.
You know, what do you do when you need to learn something? people would always tell you, just Google it.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it seems like rather than a complete partnership between Apple Intelligence or Apple with OpenAI, it is more like an integration of Chatgpt specifically with iOS system.
You're right. So somehow OpenAI got the rights and the agreement with Apple that that's the AI that would be used, as opposed to Gemini or some other things we haven't even heard of yet.
Yeah, it really just saves you maybe one click of a button or one command. So once they roll out this iOS 18, whatever, there's no stopping me from saying, "Hi Siri, open Gemini for me."
Exactly.
You'll need to unlock your iPhone. It doesn't look like you have an app named Gemini.
Well, not yet.
No. But I do on the Android.
Yeah, I hope they roll out Gemini for iPhone soon because I quite enjoy using Gemini. And next week, we're going to roll out content specifically on Gemini.
Yes, I'm going to do some comparison between the Gemini Advanced and regular Gemini that's available freely right now. Specifically in their multimodal functions, the ability to integrate images and text versus documents, PDFs, PowerPoint slides, Excel files, and text, which is an incredible feature of the Gemini Advanced that I've been taking advantage of.
Yeah, if you would like to improve your productivity through AI, this will be a great video to look forward to.
Yeah, stay tuned.
And hey guys, if you've been wondering how come our audio has been improving so much compared to previous episodes, I'd like to let you know that we purchased mics from DJI and the model is ASB01. So this model enables Ryan and I to each wear a wireless mic. We plug the receiver into the computer and now we can sit apart and record great video as opposed to sitting together and spit on each other's face.
Yes, exactly. And this is the DJI Mic 1, or the original version. And so we're testing it out here and we hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, and we'll make sure to make a link in our Amazon store.
Yes.
I think that is it today, and thank you so much for listening to our podcast. What do you want to talk about next time?
I don't know. The world of AI is evolving so quickly.
Maybe we'll go over more on the Google side from Google I/O.
Yeah, that's true. That's been a month in the past. We haven't heard too much about it, but it might be good to bring it back because there's a lot of integration of Google Gemini into phones and everything they're going to do. And they've been doing a really nice fancy ad that I've been seeing on YouTube. So obviously Google is trying to get the word out so we can help them.
Yeah, sounds good. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Yep. All right, bye.